All right, welcome to episode 55 of Beer with Strangers. I'm your host, Tony Russo, and I'm joined this week, as I'm joined nearly every week, by my co-host, Doug Griffith.
Good afternoon, Tony. And for the weather report today, it's sunny for the most part, a little overcast, and a little cooler than what it has been the last couple of days, but still, it's a great spring day.
Beautiful, beautiful. I got out to the Salisbury not the Salisbury Festival, the third Friday in Salisbury this weekend. I was working. It wasn't like I was just having. It's funny when I
third Friday of the week or the third Friday of the month.
Third Friday of the month. But when I write for so many different places that there's no place that I can go where I'm not technically working. Yeah. So I was taking pictures, and it was absolutely gorgeous, and there were hundreds of people out there, hundreds. It was.
I think everybody's tired of being inside from all the rain, from all the snow.
That you could want to smell on everybody. Yeah. Everybody's like, just whatever it is, get me out of here. Plenty of fun stuff to talk about today, but I want to talk about this beer first because I don't know what you have, but I have the new coffee saison.
Yes,
very good.
Yes, Sean made that recipe. He went down a couple weeks ago to the Point Roastery, which is down Rehoboth, just before you go into Rehoboth, off Route 1. And he met Sean Hickson, who is the roaster there. They came up with a roast for Sean to make a beer from, because Sean was here last Saturday to show roasting, explain roasting to some of our customers. Mm-hmm. And Sean took one of the coffee that he'd gotten from Sean. It gets difficult, Sean and Sean.
Right.
Sean got
coffee Sean and beer Sean.
Right. So he got this coffee from Coffee Sean to make a beer, and he brewed it and had it for the presentation on Saturday. So, and it is very good.
Very good.
Not dark like you would expect. It's light, but has that definite coffee flavor.
And one of the things that threw me off when I first tasted was I got a lot of bitterness, and I'm like, is it bitter from the coffee? And he's like, no, the bitter's from the hops. I overdid it. Yeah. But I mean, that's what you expect from Sean. Yeah. But then when it warmed up just a hair, like by my second sip, the coffee came through and it was nice and mellow and sweet almost. Just a nice
for like beer. It's just not what you expect for a coffee flavored beverage.
When you hear coffee and you see this color, you're like, oh, but it's very, very good.
Expecting something bad or darker.
And what do you have there?
It's another Sean. It's one we did for the all grain and split it up into two different batches and add two different yeasts, Nottingham and Windsor, just to show the difference what yeast imparts in a beer.
Is it the same one or is that a different one?
It's been there just 3 weeks now.
Oh, because you did that a couple months ago.
Yeah, we did also.
I didn't know there was another one of those.
Yes. Give you a taste after
the show.
Yeah.
So a little bit of house cleaning stuff before we get to the show. We skipped last week, and I want to apologize to our guest who I forgot to tell we were skipping last week. Ty from Duclaw was going to join us. He called me at 5:15. He's like, okay, it says here to call if I haven't heard from you. And I was like, I was working. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm at work. We canceled the show. I didn't tell you. But he'll be joining us next week. Yeah. So if you have questions or interest in Duclaw or some of the stuff that's going on over at Duclaw.
I mean, you told us that you've been busy all week.
Yeah.
For other.
And that's what I mean. For writing. I told everybody except the guests. And it's, as you know, we don't have guests very often. So, I guess that's the problem. If we had guests every week, then I would remember to call them and tell them when the show was canceled. So that's housekeeping number one. Housekeeping number two, beginning in May, you will be able to download us on iTunes. It took me a little while, but I got that all organized now. So this is the last show that will be exclusively on Google. So if for those of you, and we have had a couple people contact us and say, hey, when are you going to start the podcast up? So we will be restarting the podcast. So if you have questions, if you can't make it to the show like now and you want to send us emails, or you want to send us emails, I think is probably, or post something on Facebook or whatever. We'll be going back to the question and answer portion again if there are questions and answers. And housekeeping number 3, did you make it to the roasting on Saturday? Were you here?
No, I was not here.
The roasting on Saturday, I heard was a lot of fun.
I was enjoying myself boating.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Friend's got a sailboat, and I was down helping him get things ready Friday and Saturday. So it was great day being outside. So
that's fantastic. It's one of those. There's a comedian that I like, and he always said, if you buy a boat, you're stupid. If you want a boat, get a friend with a boat. And
that's great.
You can do all the work, but you don't have all the constant expense. That's what he says.
But
all the
having
work
somebody
without the constant
do the work with you is much more pleasant doing all the work yourself.
Right. Well, what he was saying is he didn't mind pitching in to do the work. He minded having to reach into his pocket for an extra $1,000 every now and again.
It's a hole in the water if you throw money into it.
Yeah.
But it's fun. Yeah.
And also, last but not least, in book news, my book is confirmed. I got my contract this week, so I'm very excited about that. It would be on Delaware beer. If anyone knows anything about Diamond State Brewery, or if any of you guys have Diamond State Brewery paraphernalia, I'd love to hear about it, talk about it, take pictures of it. If any of you work there or have recipes, all those things, we'd like to do some of that again this time around. And I'll finally get it. It turns out I'll finally get to have a sit down with Sam and do an interview sometime in May.
Great.
I'll finally get my interview with Sam. But what's been interesting, and this is where we're going to start the actual show now. If you look on YouTube, he's been doing like a retrospective of like just memories that he has from opening 20 years ago or whatever. I haven't watched any. I apologize, but I know that they're there. And so that makes me feel a little bit better because I'll be able to watch.
I should go back and see what I remember. Compare notes.
And that's it. I'd like to see about doing more. One of the things that I didn't do last book that I want to do this book is record some of the interviews and then maybe have just release the interviews as part of as podcasts, like for the book, as like
video and put them on YouTube.
Yeah, video and put them on.
Yeah.
My only problem with videoing them and putting them on YouTube is that I really am that lazy, and I'm not very good with video. Like this, I can do, like sit here, talk, and have it be online. Yeah, I'm for that. But when you try even just putting in like names and titles and stuff, it's so labor intensive for a lazy person like myself. Whereas the audio, I'm good at.
Or maybe you don't have the good software that makes it easy.
Right.
But that stuff gets pricey.
Yeah. Well, the software that comes with my Mac isn't bad. It's just, like I said, I'm just so lazy. So anyway, so that is all the housekeeping stuff to get the show started off. Some of the things I wanted to talk about this week were mostly in the news because we do know. Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. Last but not least, Anthony Toey will be joining us also in a couple of weeks, and surecraftbeer.com. Visit them. I don't remember precisely when, but I believe it's Saturday. They're having a brewer event at Ocean City Brewing Company, where they're going to have brewers there talking about whatever brewers talk about when they're there for those things. I forget the title, but check out surecraftbeer.com and you will find that information. And now, one of the things that I wanted to talk about this week were two things that kind of fell together. In Florida, they're having a big fight between the craft breweries and the big breweries. And the big breweries,
something new.
Well, the big breweries seem to have more politicians in their Florida pockets than they do up here. And the other thing that kind of goes hand in hand with that is an article that I read but didn't really 100% agree with, that talked about why the South had the fewest breweries. I mean, I'm not saying that they don't have the fewest breweries. I'm just saying that
what the reason was.
Yeah, I feel
that is interesting. Going back to the Florida legislation they're talking about, it was Budweiser who got that legislation started initially, whenever it was 30 years ago, whenever they did Busch Gardens.
Right. So
30 or 40 years ago, they wanted to be able to serve their product at the brewery.
They didn't want to have to truck it in.
Right. And I understand. So they made a tourist exemption because it's the tourists coming.
Right.
So all the other breweries who have since opened up use the same tourist exemption.
And they probably wouldn't have been able to get any breweries at all if Busch if Busch Gardens hadn't done this one thing,
right.
they never would. I don't think they would have been able to open breweries. No Cigar City, which I guess is going to be Budweiser again soon anyway. But I'm sorry.
But they got yes. So the craft breweries used this brewing exception, and now I guess Budweiser's been putting some pressure on because they don't want everybody using the exemption that they used.
Right. And craft beer is getting very, very big in Florida. And they still have very strict distribution laws.
I think one of the distributors actually started a suit against one of the craft breweries, but pulled it back
because
they figured they couldn't win because of.
And they didn't want to lose.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose.
It's one of those things where you can make the threat, but if you lose a lawsuit like that, it sets a precedent that will make you lose future lawsuits, which is something about lawsuits that I think a lot of us don't understand how much they do and always have done to create new laws and to allow new lawsuits to come into being.
But the law can say one thing and then a lawsuit can change that slightly, and the next one changes it even a little more. And
absolutely.
And you said, past precedent does lots of undesirable things sometimes.
It can do a lot of damage, and people, smart people with good intentions can make bad things happen still. The other one story I wanted to talk about was and maybe even tie it to another story we're going to look at later is the idea of the South having the South not being beer friendly or being less beer friendly than the Northeast. What did you think of that?
I don't know. I guess it makes sense. It's because of the Baptists, they say.
Right.
But yet the Baptists, historically, at least from what the article said, the preachers were paid in whiskey. So I guess the guys who were making the whiskey are not always the revenue, or were breaking the law, but yet paid the preacher. And
right.
I don't know. It's an interesting theory, and
one of the
seemed to be all it was, but it seemed to play out.
And they have had some difficulty in some towns, but one of the things that, and this is why I'm more interested in the economic development aspect of beer generally. I mean, that's kind of been my interest. That's how I started. Like I started covering Burley Oak because of the economic impact, because that was my job. And you start to see, I mean, these cities and towns, they come around pretty quickly when it comes to breweries now. They see that there is money to be made. They see there's tourism money, tax money, and jobs. Which,
they say that for one brewery job, there's basically 45 agricultural or other related jobs that are
around it,
associated with it. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, because there are a lot of things you need for a brewery, and there are people locally who can provide some of that stuff.
And it's not. And the other thing is even when you have to have, even when you can't self-distribute, it also pays for the restaurants. Local restaurants like to have local beers, and everybody makes a lot more money. It's just everybody makes more money when the beer has only traveled a couple of miles, as opposed to when it's traveled hundreds of miles. And that's the thing that they're starting to catch on with. And the example I want to bring up is Seaford is waiting. They feel like the magic beer gods are just going to come in and put a brewery there. I think they might be mistaken, but they just got a big economic development grant. Oh,
that's good. I know there was a guy who owns some property, I think on High Street. He'd asked me if I knew anybody. And unfortunately, I just don't know anybody who's willing to. Yeah. It takes capital and backers, and
it doesn't. And I think we're going to see slower growth, as you were saying. I don't know if this was on air, if this was before we opened, but there was a little bit of contraction. 46. Did you say 46?
46 breweries went out of business according to the Brewers Association report in 2014.
And we feel like, I mean, we've always said that there are going to be people who are overextended and also not making good beer, or overextended, or not making good beer.
But overall, they had a growth of something like 20% last year.
Mm-hmm.
But still, that 20% growth is small compared to what the big guys do.
Right, and the other thing is that I think they start to feel it. Like I said, not getting flat, but the curve, the line.
Yeah,
the line, the graph is going to go from something like 45 degrees to maybe something more like 60 degrees.
But I think there's like 3,600 breweries now.
Yes.
And 40 craft breweries, or 40 bigger breweries, or something like that.
Right.
What they call big breweries. I'm not the top 50, and I think Dogfish is in that top 50 now.
Yep, so. Dogfish is number 13. And that's the other thing we spoke about earlier, but they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. So if you're in the area, or if you're thinking about coming to the area I'm checking to see if we have any visitors. If you're in the area or thinking about coming to the area this summer, you want to check in with Dogfish, because they're apparently going to be doing a lot of big things all the way up and down the coast. I know that, for instance, when I contacted them about the book, they said that the Lewis Library is going to be doing a retrospective of some sort. Because I said, do you have any old pictures and stuff that I could scan or whatever? And they're like, yes, we do. We just gave them all to the Lewis Historical Society, and they're going to do a big deal. So it's going to be, I think it's going to be a good summer for beer this year. And the other thing that I felt like I wanted to mention was Milford is going to be having their beer festival in June. I think it's June 10th or June 14th. That weekend.
Or you can go anytime to Mississippian.
Or you can go anytime to Mississippian River. And I got out there last week. I don't know. One of the reasons I wasn't here last week was because I had to write a bunch of beer stories. And it's funny that the publisher came to me and he's like, okay, this is the food and drink section. Can you write some beer stories? And I'm like, I don't even have to leave my desk. And I wrote a bunch of them right off the top of my head. But I had to go get new pictures. It's just, there's 3 stories that you tell. And poor Lori, if I go over there with my camera one more time, she's going to have to blow my head off. I think she's going to get a restraining order put on me or something.
I saw her and Jerry on the page you had up with their new barrel series, blue top bottles.
I'm very excited. I had a very little beer today because I'm on another weight loss push. And my reward when I lose 10 pounds is I'm going to get to drink that bottle that I bought last week. Everybody's like, how'd it taste? I'm like, I don't know yet. You asked me in 10 pounds, and I'm down 8. I've got 2.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I've got 2 more pounds to lose. It's funny about weight loss. I don't know how much experience you have with this, but I lost 80 pounds. And then I stopped, and I'm like, I'll get there. And then I started put on 5, I put on 7, and I got to 10. I'm like, enough. That's 10 is because the concern is that I'm concerned, when I get to 20, I'm going to put all 80 back on. So, and you can still lose it by saying, oh yeah, you know what, just have a little beer instead of a big beer for a couple weeks.
Yeah, look.
Well, you're skinny. Well, skinny guys can have all the beer they want.
I don't know about that. I can lose a little bit of weight too. So,
so the I'm sorry. So Mississippian is going to be canning now their black tie PA. Have you had that?
No, I've not.
That's nice. That's a very, very nice. I like black IPAs better than I like normal IPAs because they're not as floral, and the floral. Sean and I got into it last week. He didn't want to hear this from me, but the floral notes aren't my favorite part. But we went over. We were at Third Wave, and we had their black IPA, that Bombora. Oh, such a good beer. I really like that beer. And the black tie PA in a can from Mississippian, which should be out any minute now. And they also will be in Maryland by the end of the month.
Oh, wow.
If the month is May. If you're watching it in May, they'll be all over the peninsula. They'll be in Maryland and in DC, select stores, things like that. But they're going to add 4 jobs. We were talking about the economic. They're going to add, I think, 4 jobs. And Third Wave is going to add 2 jobs when they expand and start bottling and canning. And again, Lori said that any day they'll be breaking ground. And Tall Tales has broken ground, and they're, I think, already under construction.
I was just down there yesterday.
Are they already putting stuff up in the air? Or?
Yep, stuff's up in the air. Just the perimeter of the new buildings there, but it's
very
there.
Exciting.
So.
Very, very exciting. So great things are happening here, and I think the other thing is here we just have a good community here. I mean, Third Wave is, when you go to Third Wave, there are people there, and people go there. When you go to Tall Tales, there are people there, and people go there. People look for it.
And Evolution's, every time I've been there, it's busy.
Evolution's packed, and it stays packed all the time. And when college is in, especially, I mean, when college is out, it's summertime. So the only time you can go there and it's not busy is like in December, you know, December 4th to the 20th. They're not very busy.
The brewery, but you go to Specific Gravity and it's busy too.
Very busy over at Specific Gravity. Well,
doing very well.
Here's a little secret that I found out. The hard way, the not hard way, they have a happy hour on Saturday afternoons at Specific Gravity.
Some people get away.
$3.50 a pint. I'm like, oh, it looks like I'm taking a little nap in my car this afternoon. And I got to try. I think we talked about this the other day. I had the Exile Red Ale recently. Such a good beer, and I had forgotten it was a good beer. The last time I had it, it was Exile ESB. That's how long.
Which reminds me, Pork in the Park's coming up this weekend, Friday and.
Oh, you're gonna be there?
Yep,
tomorrow
cool. And Saturday. So, and they always have it on tap there.
Oh yeah, but are you guys gonna have?
Yes, we're gonna set up.
Cool, because I'm gonna be there taking pictures for the paper.
All right.
I will come take your picture.
All right.
I'll be there Saturday, not Friday, because all hell broke loose again this week. I barely got here today.
Well, it doesn't start till 4 tomorrow.
Yeah, well, I won't be going tomorrow at all. That's how I got here today. I traded. But yeah, Pork in the Park is this week, and that's always a fun beer event. And they always have a lot of good beer and pulled pork sandwiches and other pork things. They did away with the barbecue contest this year. Is that true?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I heard that.
I thought that was part of the.
I thought that's what it was about.
Yeah.
That's why I was very confused.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I have bad information.
But that's in Salisbury, Maryland.
That is in Salisbury, near the Shorebird Stadium. Yeah. And I'm thinking I might cover that and then run across the street and take some pictures at the Shorebird Stadium. I got my press passes, so now I get to see baseball all year, and I don't have to pay for parking. I have to go in and I find 3 people to take pictures of, put the pictures in the paper, and that's how I pay for my tickets. So that's fair. And so that's where we were when we were talking about economic development. The other thing that we wanted to get to, that's Lori and Jerry, was the eco-friendly aspect of beer. Would you like to talk a little bit about the?
Sure. Global warming, I'm not sure about. I'm still on the fence whether there is or there isn't. But anyway, I just think whether it is or isn't, the economics of doing these things is great. I mean, whether it's for the global warming.
Or just because it's cheaper and better.
Well, I don't think most of this stuff's not cheaper, but sustainability without having to use extra resources always is good economic business, I think. So they're investing in things that will keep things running with less cost in the long run, I think. I think that's just a good business sense. And everybody, I think, the newer generation is looking at newer ways to do things, which is always good for businesses. So I think it's just in that realm of things, whether it's for global
warming just to make things run healthier. Just
if you can
use less gas, use less water, all of those things.
You can justify solar panels and wind, whatever.
Yeah, absolutely.
Recycling water because of what's happening with the water in California.
Yeah, they're
all makes good sense.
I was thinking about that today. I wonder if places like Sierra Nevada and Stone's out here now as well. Yeah. But I wonder what kind of effect this drought will have on the beer production.
I mean, beer has always used lots of water. For every gallon, it's like 6 gallons of beer. I mean, you're cleaning and just
I remember
everything
when
associated with it.
When Brian was getting open, I was asking him, like, this is pretty efficient with water. He's like, I'm afraid they're gonna find out how much water I'm using and tell me they don't want me here anymore. because it is a high. But there is one of the things that I actually discovered today. It wasn't on the list of things to talk about, but it goes with this. Is that artificial flavors, as it turns out, were part of a sustainability type. One of the things that we do is we don't. When you're trying not to waste, you make things. And it turns out that the reason we have artificial flavors is they were trying to figure out something to do with the coal tar that was left over when the Industrial Revolution really ramped up and they had all this coal tar.
Yeah.
And somebody said, hey, this smells like fruit. And they found a way to manipulate the carbon molecules to make it.
So that's how we got fruit.
So that's why we have
artificial fruit flavors.
Fruit flavors. And the other thing is that banana flavor that is probably flavored like a banana that has gone extinct. That's why it doesn't taste like bananas. The bananas we used to eat when they made banana flavor are different from the bananas we eat now.
Oh.
And that's probably a difference. Same with the grapes. The grapes taste more like Catawba grapes, which, I mean, I happen to have it, but a lot of people don't. But anyway, so this idea of sustainability, making people be more innovative. So you find if you're like, it's not surprising to me, but it's still kind of cool, the idea of feeding the grain to animals, or making dog biscuits out of the grain, or making bread back out of the grain. I went out to 16 Mile, and they make everything out of the grain. They are plugged in to the marketing machine. They make bread, they make dog biscuits, they make the cheese. The cheese I've had, the cheese is fantastic. And they also make Scrapple. They have a Scrapple company that uses one of their porters to make porter flavored Scrapple, which I'm sure is fantastic.
And I would think you put some of the grains in the
Scrapple as well.
Yeah.
You probably can. And one of the things that I know Dogfish was talking about doing a while ago, I read it in the book, was eating the farm raised pigs, right? Having the pigs raised on.
And I know they've been getting cattle from some of the
cows,
farms.
yeah. And having
them in the
cows
restaurant,
that are serving meat that was made from the beer that they.
Yeah.
The other thing that I didn't know, and I'm sure you knew this, but I'll share it with you guys, is that the cooking is what makes it edible for the cows. This is grains that couldn't.
Oh, they can't digest barley otherwise?
They couldn't eat barley unless it's cooked first.
Yeah. Well, it's not cooked, but it's raised the temperature is at 170 or something like that.
It releases the enzymes that they need to digest it. So if a cow got into your barley field, it might eat your barley, but it wouldn't get any nutrients from it. But now that, and it just seems very.
And there's not a whole lot of nutrients left, but there's enough, I guess. There's enough roughage and everything.
Yeah, and I mean,
something out of it.
And I mean, the cows, they can feed them plenty of it. Yeah. It's not like it's deer. So anyway, those are all the things that I thought were interesting this week. I believe we're running out of time. So we're going to skip to the part where I ask you what we got coming up with. There's a class right now. If you're watching it, you're not. But if you were watching it and you
starts in 10 minutes, we've got class.
Yeah, you can come.
A basic brewing class starts in 10 minutes here in Laurel. So if you're outside, come on in.
Other than that, you have another one coming up soon?
That's all I can remember at this time. I didn't bring my sheet in today.
Sorry, but as always, you can check on the website, extremebrewying.com or xtremebrew.
You spell it E or an X?
ing.com, and go to everything else, and that's where you'll find a link to this podcast and
our class schedules there.
The class schedules. They do wine, and if you want to get a bunch of people together and come and do a class with a bunch of people,
be glad to help you out.
Give us a holler, and they'll arrange it. And other than that, I got nothing this week.
All right, good.
All right, cool. Well, thank you
Tony,
for joining us, and we will see you next week with Ty from Dewclaw, which I'm very excited about. So think up Dewclaw questions.